Hello, everyone. So I think we can probably get started. Okay, let's do a little bit of context and then we'll jump into intros. So, just a bit of context here. Today, we're going to be doing a Gribble trait verifier and Rarity spreadsheet demo, which Sam will be sharing. We hope to go through basically the blog post and explain the tool and also how to check your rarity of your Gribble based off of the intended distributions. And also, if we have some time in the end, we could probably check if your Gribble is one of the rarest ones. So I'm Ayara. You can also call me Vanessa. I'm the product manager of platform team, and when I mean platform team, I mean we do anything that's not related to games. So the website, the launcher, etc. Yeah, great to be here and really happy to meet everyone. I'll pass it to Sam for quick intros.
Hey everyone, I'm Sam. I'm a blockchain engineer here at MetaTheory. I've been here almost 7 months now. Been having a blast working with this really talented team. And we did a lot of really cool things on the tech side for just this Gribbles collection and the way eggs were hatched. And it's been a lot of fun being able to work on that and really have something that I think is really special in the space in terms of what our NFT collection has offered and some of the ways that we've gone about, doing things provably fair, which I've been able to really be involved in, and I've learned a lot through this process, and I'm excited to be here today to share all that with you.
Yeah, and for today's icebreaker, Sam, would you like to share maybe your favorite dessert?
Oh yeah, my favorite dessert is also the food I try to stay away from the most because I lose all self-control, and that is a cinnamon roll. And you're aware of that, Nessa, but it's bad news. I could be in a very deep, meaningful conversation with somebody, and if I like see a cinnamon roll out of the corner of my eye, like it's going to completely steal my focus, and I'm going to want to figure out how to consume that as quickly as possible. And the problem is I don't know when to stop. And I can literally sit and just eat like 6 cinnamon rolls and just hate myself at the end of it. But there's just something so magical about them.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Sam. Okay, Lily, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm Lily. I'm a front-end engineer here at MetaTheory for 8 months, I think. And my favorite dessert, I think, is baklava. If anybody knows that.
Oh, could you describe what it is?
Um, it's like a pastry dessert, I guess. It's usually with like honey or some kind of syrup. Uh, yeah, I don't know how else to describe it.
Oh, yeah, that sounds nice. I really like pastries. I also realized I forgot to share my icebreaker answer. I'm gonna sound a little basic here, but I think I like anything with ice cream in it, so I'll just go with that. Okay, yeah, feel free to leave any questions you have for us in the chat. Otherwise, we will jump right into the demo.
Is everyone able to see my screen share here?
Yep,
Hopefully,
Sam, it,
yes.
it seems to be working.
Okay, great. So yeah, we have created some tools for proving the overall fairness of how we go about hatching the Gribble eggs and creating really unique Gribbles every time somebody does go to hatch an egg. And we felt like this is a very important thing in the Web3 space, just being as transparent as possible about how these systems work. I think it's pretty common for projects to do things and not really show or prove how exactly they work under the hood. and don't really provide a lot of confidence, just in terms of being able to trust that there wasn't something that might have been gamed by the team, or maybe an exploit vector that an attacker could have taken advantage of, to shift the odds in their favor of either getting something more rare or valuable, and just having a system that isn't fair across the board for all participating users. And we came up with a really cool way of creating truly unique and fair distribution of these traits across Gribbles using Chainlink VRF, which is a tool basically to get verifiably random numbers. And we use those numbers to generate the Gribbles the moment that you decide to hatch. So there's no way we know about these things up front. And we've created this blog post series, and what's on the screen right now is the final, the third article in this series that details the things that I'll be walking through today. But I definitely recommend you go on our site, check out the news section, and read through the 3 articles that we've put out on this, just covering the entire hatching experience and some of the tech that went into all of this to make it work. And these are definitely, tools and systems that we created hoping to take advantage of in the future and really have a solid foundation that we can continue to build on. So it was important to us that we got all of it right from the beginning. And now we get to really show you how those things worked and how you can prove this for yourself or to others that, this is a very cool collection in the way, we've gone about doing this, and we can actually prove that. So within this blog post, there's a couple important links in here that I will be walking through today. One of the big things we wanted to show is the overall percentage chance of getting specific traits within the Gribble collection. And so in this section here, there's this Gribble trait rarity sheet. And we've actually created a public spreadsheet that will break down the possibilities for the primary presets that a Gribble can have. And just really, it's sort of a visual representation of the algorithm that we created for how these Gribbles get generated. So when you land on here, you have this sort of an index page that you can hop over into other sections pretty quickly. At the bottom, there's a list of other resources. So there's the other 2 blog posts that I mentioned here, some other important links, which I'll be walking through today. But what's awesome about this is you can go into, like, for example, here's the bodies page. This will actually show you all of the potential bodies that are available for your Gribble to have when you go to hatch an egg. We have 50 of these as an example. And so bodies are interesting. If you saw the last demo, I'm not sure that there's really anyone that was here for the previous demo, but I didn't have this body type, head type, and leg type in place yet. We got some feedback to include those things, which I think makes a ton of sense. And basically, these 50 body presets that we have are a combination of one of 15 body shapes, and then one of, I believe it's 6 head shapes, and then 4 leg shapes. And then within those, there's some other random values that are available, like there's a leg seed. So you might see 2 legs that are like Lancelot, for example, but they might look slightly different. And that could be based on the leg seed. But the core thing is that there's 50 of these combinations of these different shapes here, which we call the body presets, that are available. And we show you here what your percentage chance is of receiving them based on the level that your egg was when you went to hatch it. For anyone that's new to the collection, there was an opportunity during what we called the egg experience to level up your Gribble egg. And this was prior to really there actually being Gribbles. No one knew what was going to come from the eggs. And if you were participating in our ecosystem and playing our games, then you were earning OmniGrow, which allowed you to level up your egg, and the maximum level for that was level 5. And basically, at the launch of the hatching, when it became possible for Gribbles to actually be created and hatched from those eggs, we froze all of the egg levels. So you can no longer upgrade those eggs. If you were to, for example, go to OpenSea and scroll through any of the eggs that are for sale, if you see one for sale and it's level 3, then that will be the highest egg level it can be. And that egg level is affecting the chance that you can get a rarer trait. So as an example here, this third preset, if you have an egg at level 1 and you go to hatch it, then your percentage chance of getting this preset is extremely rare, right? It's 0.05%, and it slightly increases for each extra egg level you have. So if, early on you were able to get your eggs up to level 5, which the vast majority of users that were actually participating in the experience were able to do, then you have the highest chance of getting one of these much more rare traits. Now, this gray color is really showing what are considered, to be the more common presets. So you'll see that the percentage chance you get one of these is actually going down as your egg level increases. So it's kind of a way to reward those early users who were able to get their eggs to level 5, to just give them a slightly higher chance of receiving one of these rare traits. None of the traits are gated in any way. So like, even if you have that level 1 egg, you still have the possibility of getting every single trait that is out there. You don't have to have a level 5 egg to get the rarest traits. You just have a slightly higher chance of getting them when your egg level is higher. And so this sheet is set up in a way where you could come in and sort by this, like this top row here is frozen. So you could see, like, these are going to be all of the rarest body presets, and you can sort of scroll through down to the more common ones here. And so we've done this, I'll sort by here again to reset this. We've done this across our, what we call the primary traits. So that's your body preset, the markings that you got. These are sort of like tattoos for the Gribbles. There are a total of 12 of these available, including this first one here, which is just none. And that's actually a pretty rare one to get. There's also our textures, which are, they're definitely different than the markings, which are more of the tattoos. The textures are like actual indentations, engravings sort of in the Gribble itself. So you can have markings and textures. This first one here, glabrous, is basically the equivalent of no texture. So it's just like a smooth Gribble. And there are 11 total options for these, which you can see on this page. Every Gribble can be assigned one of 6 backgrounds. There's no difference in terms of the rarity of any of these backgrounds, so it's an equal chance to get any of them. Then there are 200 different color palettes. And the way I've structured this here is you get the preview of the color right away over here. And then on the right of the percentages, we give the full breakdown of the title that we've given it, and then the hex value that it was assigned, to make it easier to link from the Gribble trait verifier tool, which I will be showing in a moment. But within these 200 color palettes, there are these 3 that are basically the more neutral palettes. So this is sort of like an all white palette. Then we have an all black palette, and then a palette with a few different shades of gray here. These are the most common. Combined, we're going to be seeing one of these within the collection over 12% of the time. And then there's some extremely rare ones. Some of the more colorful palettes, they go down to, I believe the lowest is like 0.02%. So we should only expect to see a few of those at the most, even with all 20,000 Gribbles minted and hatched. Then on this final tab here, the secondary traits, these are values that go into the algorithm that are randomly generated based on that random seed I was describing. but they're not pulling really from a specified list of presets like I just showed you with the bodies and markings and textures. Something like the color bleed amount here, right? It shows you it's a random value, and then we over here give the description for how that is actually impacting your Gribble. And some of these are actually very complex in terms of how it can affect your Gribble. The color application mode, for example, is going to determine how your selected color palette is created on your Gribble, whether it's the color palette going front to back or back to forward. This markings color, each color palette has a designated markings color, but that might not be used depending on your markings color mode. So there's a lot of things that can go into how your final Gribble turned out. And what we really wanted to make sure was available to all of you is that you can see that this is a fair process that happens to every single person in the exact same way. And we wanted you to be able to prove that we were doing exactly what we said we were doing, or that this sheet is true and can be viewed as a source of truth. And so in order to do that, we created a simple open source tool called the Gribble Trait Verifier. So I'll hop back to the blog post here, and down here in this proving our fairness section, we go into the details of how exactly this works. And basically, when you go to hatch an egg, behind the scenes, we are sending a request to the Polygon blockchain. And this is a transaction that we fully handle, and we pay for the gas fees that are involved. And we send it to this contract we wrote called the Gribble hatching contract. And you can actually see or interact with that contract through that link here on something called Polygon Scan, which is, if you're familiar with anything in the Ethereum space, there's something called Etherscan. It lets you see balances of addresses or interact with contracts. This is basically a clone of that for Polygon. And the benefit of us deploying this on Polygon is that it's dramatically cheaper to create transactions and create these random numbers. And so this is sort of what we're using behind the scenes as the source of truth for the different random seeds that go into all of the Gribbles that are hatched. So in that blog post, when you click the link, it focuses in on this get Gribble seed function here. And what's great about like Polygon Scan or Etherscan, you can read these, you can basically query these functions, and you don't need to like connect your MetaMask or even really know how a lot of the blockchain stuff works. This is going to pull from their API, reading these contracts directly. But this is a really important function if anybody wanted to verify these things. Basically, you can type in your Gribble ID here, and if you have a Gribble egg that hasn't been hatched yet, then you're going to get a seed result of 0, because it just means there hasn't been a seed created yet because it hasn't been hatched yet. But if there is a Gribble ID that you have that you've hatched your egg from, then you can come in here and do that. So I've, on our website, just to show how this works, I've pulled up Gribble 134, which was a hatched from a level 5 egg. And this is what we are showing you. It looks like this is what we rendered out. But we want to use the Gribble Verifier tool to make sure that the traits that we've rendered out actually align with what it should have created based on the algorithm results. So I'll type in 134 here as the ID, and then we get this long string here, which is the seed. And so now we want to do something with this seed. And if we go back to this blog post, we can see that there's this link to the Gribble Trait Verifier. So I will open that. And so here we are on it. It's a very simple page. There's 2 input fields. The first is selecting the egg level between 1 and 5. So we know this one was egg level 5. And we have the seed here that we'll paste. So once that's done, we can hit generate traits from seed. And now we give you an output of what should have been rendered visually. And from here, you can compare that the results from this actually match what it should be over here. So it is looking like it lines up, right? We see the green, we see the blue, the eye color there is the orange. We can look at, let's say, we know we got body preset number 33 here. So if I go over to the sheet and check out this bodies tab and scroll down to the 33rd preset, we can see that. And if we jump over to the Gribble, it does indeed look like we got that one. So this seems to be an accurate rendering of what this user should have received. And thus far, I think we're close to 3,000 total eggs hatched, which means 3,000 Gribbles have actually been created. And we've done our best to basically give a manual review of them and make sure there haven't been errors. And we haven't detected any thus far. If you were to use this Gribble trait verifier tool and basically see that you received a Gribble that was different than what you're seeing in the Gribble trait verifier tool, then definitely reach out to us and let us know, because that should not be happening. That means there was some mistake on our end in the rendering process, and we can basically try to run through that again and make sure the correct seed is being used. But this tool itself is actually available. The code for this is available in a public GitHub repo that we've created. And you can download this locally and basically host this website. And within it is an algorithm that is locked now. And it's really been locked since the beginning of December when we created this hatching process. And there won't be changes to that. So if like you were to go into that repo and see that there was a change to the algo data file, then there should be some red flags, and hopefully someone can like call us out and be like, hey, what exactly changed with this algo data? Because if there is a change there, then it means that the output of that algorithm could be different than what we're showing here in the spreadsheet. And that can really throw off the overall, trust within the collection, or that the traits themselves are provably fair. And so this whole tool set is not necessarily made to be some frequently used thing for the average user to like fully take advantage of. This is something that I don't really expect that many users to personally use, but it is a really important thing to have available to the ones that want to dive in to the details of this and make sure that this whole system is provably fair. And then hopefully they can relay to others that we have actually gone about things in a transparent way. And that's something that we plan to do moving forward. So I definitely recommend taking a look at this if you're interested in how some of this works. The actual code for this website itself is just a very simple application using a framework called Svelte, and that's what Lily was able to help with in putting all of this together. I was deeply involved in the algorithm for how the Gribble traits get generated, and then I basically created a sort of like a public version of that algorithm that we could include in this Gribble trait verifier tool that we put together. And that pretty much covers like how these things work. Down here, you can see there are these secondary Gribble traits, which were referenced over here on this sheet. And the primary thing with these is we're not surfacing them in the metadata yet. Like if you were to go on OpenSea, you will see these. You actually won't see the color palette number of the body preset. I added these to this yesterday just to make it easier to find on the sheet. But what this is really referencing, like this color palette number is referencing these colors here. And then this body preset number is referencing what you would get for the body type, head type, and leg type. But those specific numbers aren't in our metadata, but these other things are. And then down here, these are very important parts of the algorithm, but we don't want the metadata to be too noisy right now, and it's not really clear immediately what each of these things do without like the extra descriptions and things. So we're not sure how useful it would be to include in the metadata. But we do feel like it's important for everyone to be able to see exactly what these values are for their Gribbles. And so this tool gives you a way to do that. So that's the primary walkthrough here of the demo. If there's any questions, I'm not sure if I've missed any in the chat as I've been talking. Definitely leave them in the chat. If you want to come up on stage and ask a question, feel free to do that as well. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Yeah, if anyone has any questions or wants to come up on stage, we're happy to answer. I'll give maybe a minute in case there are any questions. Yeah, from Nitro Slab, we have, this is awesome, love the technical details, thank you. And we really wanted to make this in order to make sure it was super transparent and also share the kind of almost the development process with this, and also make sure everyone was able to, you know, see every distribution with Rarity, so you could definitely understand how your Gribble is generated and how this could vary over different egg levels. Yeah, no questions from anyone? Oh, I see some typing. Oh, okay, I'll invite to speak.
Awesome.
I believe Jedion, sorry if I'm butchering your name, but did you want to come up and speak? We sent an invite for you. Oh, feel free to, oh, no worries. Would you like to type? That's also okay. Oh, yeah, great, you're in. Jedion? Sorry, I still don't know how to say that. But I think you're muted, so take your time though. Yeah, and feel free to share any questions.
Sorry about that.
Oh,
I think
hi.
I'm good now.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. I apologize for that. I'm on the road right now, so it's a little bit difficult to manage that while driving. But
No problem.
my question is, do you know of any traits that have yet to be revealed because they're so rare?
I don't specifically know, but I think there's a number of them. I would guess that a few of the color palettes, some of these very rare ones, have not been revealed yet. Like, you know, just mathing it out, I think the one that's like this one here, palette 122, I just don't think there's been enough hatched so far to have this. If someone does have like this palette, they're probably the only one, and it's probably one of the rarest ones. We're figuring out how to sort of create some of those high level analytics around this. It's a little bit tricky right now just due to the collection being like a mixture of those eggs and the Gribbles. Like, it's hard to say at this point like what the rarest one in the collection is when you're factoring in like the eggs and the fact that as more eggs are getting hatched, then it basically every new egg that gets hatched can throw off the overall rarity of everything that's already out there. But I think that's a really important thing for us to look at and have an understanding of what traits have been out there right now. So I think we'll definitely dive in and do some processing on the collection and see what we're missing thus far. I think that'd be really interesting to know.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'll say this is one of the coolest little Rarity demos that I've ever seen. Like, this is definitely very unique, and I'm pretty excited from the nerd standpoint to see how all this works. So thank you for sharing all of this.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question, Jedian. Okay, question from Diablo. Not sure if I missed out. Is it possible to reveal how are these traits going to help in the upcoming game, or when will we know more about how these traits will affect the upcoming game? So I'm happy to share a little insight on that. And then Sam and Lily, you could add if there's anything else. But we're currently still working on our upcoming game. So unfortunately, I don't have exact details on how specific traits will be affecting the game. But if you have any specific suggestions on how this could look like, feel free to share in ideas and suggestions. And we'd love to hear how you'd like to see your Gribble interact with either your breaker or within the upcoming games. But we are working on Twilight Shift prototypes right now on a pretty large update or significant update, and we're really excited to bring that to users across all platforms. Yeah, Sam, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean, there's not like specific details around that right now, that we can reveal, but there's definitely a lot of really great brainstorming and experimentation happening behind the scenes with Gribbles, and I think all the different things they can do and be involved in. I definitely think this is a collection that's going to surprise people, and there's just going to be fun experiences around Gribbles as a whole. So it's we're trying to make fun experiences and create a really solid foundation to be able to do that. That's a big part of why even having a demo like this and showing some of the fairness behind the scenes is so important to us. It's because we know that we are going to build on this and have a lot of experiences around it. Like we're not showing this because like we're done with Gribbles. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. So there's definitely a lot of things that we are excited about. We're spending a lot of time exploring and working on, and yeah, when the time is right, we will definitely be sharing some of those specifics, but there's nothing set in stone to be able to share at this point.
Yeah, thank you for elaborating, Sam. Yeah, and we are still, I think, looking at around Q3 of this year for for the launch of this new game, but we will keep everyone posted on the exact timing as we get closer. Yeah, and thank you, Airs. I'm really glad that you enjoyed the demo and also the sheet. Does anyone have any other questions? Feel free to hop on the stage as well. We're happy to answer any other concerns. Okay, I see some typing, so we'll just wait a little bit. Maybe whilst we're waiting, we could maybe share some learnings of this project, Lily and Sam. Lily, do you want to get started? You want to start first? Or maybe Sam?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I learned so much through this whole egg experience and hatching process, getting to like have a much deeper understanding of how like pseudo random number generation systems work, how Chainlink VRF works, how we could go about creating a system that would have the long-term storage, I guess, through the blockchain where people can reference these things in a way that isn't gated through our own centralized system, but really, having that information available to everybody. I had pretty a pretty good understanding before I started this of how a lot of that worked, but there were some surprises along the way, and I'm really happy that I got to like dive into the weeds with a lot of this and just figure out some really interesting things and ideas that I think we will be able to carry forward into anything else that we're going to create. And on this package really that was put together for the Gribble trait generation algorithm, we didn't originally like plan to have any sort of public tool when we started constructing that. So that was an interesting process, basically chopping that package up and creating like an export path where we can have like a bundled version of the algorithm that we could release publicly, and it would have the exact same output as like what we're using on the server as these eggs are actually getting hatched. So just from like an engineering perspective, it was a fun challenge, and I definitely learned a lot and felt like there were some just really cool things that I hadn't been able to experiment with before that I have a much better understanding of now.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Sam. I'm glad it was a great journey. Lily, do you want to share your learnings regarding to this project?
Yeah, so I learned a lot about the actually how first of all how Svelte and stuff works, the front-end framework, but also the how the randomizing works in our project, which was really cool.
Yeah, thanks, Lily. Okay, we have a question from Ayers, so not directly related to the demo, but besides the rarity of the generation of each trait, have you considered adding some kind of tool to check the overall rarity of the Gribble within the collection? Sam or Lily, would you like to jump in?
Sure. Yeah, we've definitely considered it, and we're sort of scoping out the best way to approach that. Like I said, there's the trickiness just with this collection sort of being a hybrid right now, where we have the majority of the pieces in the collection are unhatched Gribble eggs, and then there's I think there's a little over 11,000 total eggs or Gribbles in existence, and a little under 3,000 are actually hatched Gribbles. So just figuring out like how to just show what are we actually saying is are we comparing it against? Like, are we just saying, hey, this hatched Gribble is the rarest of just the hatched Gribbles, or do we need to assign some sort of rarity to eggs as a whole? There's a few things to consider there, and then just where that data is coming from. There's basically every single time a Gribble would get hatched, there sort of needs to be a recalculation of all of the individual rarities across the collection, because it skews what has been used in terms of the traits. So there's definitely some consideration around that, and overall, I think it does make a lot of sense for us to have those details and show them in a cool way if we can on the site. So yeah, I think it's a great idea, and hopefully something that we can make available to you all.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. I think that was basically, yeah. I just wanted to say the same thing as Sam, so I won't elaborate further. But hopefully, we'll be able to work on something like that in the future. And then from Boss Bernie, sorry if I'm saying that name wrong. Not sure if this has been answered, but would like to know if you can share a bit about OmniGrow future usage. So I can answer this question, and then maybe Sam or Lily could elaborate a bit more afterwards. So we are looking into future OmniGrow usage with relation to like rarity or changing your Gribble, etc. I can't really elaborate further than that because we're still ironing out the details. We are in a development phase right now, so hopefully we'll have something for you all soon. Yeah, I'm very, very excited about this, however, because I think this will be a pretty fun way to use your OmniGrow, and we will keep everyone posted in regards to this. Sam?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add there. There's definitely, things that we are excited about and we've thought through for quite a while now. And we really want there to be some great uses for OmniGrow and just have, cool utility for all of the NFTs in the ecosystem. And it's just really figuring out the technical feasibility of those things. And I think we're close. We're making a lot of progress on, are some of these bigger ideas for this are they possible? I believe that we will be able to pull them off, but we just want to make sure that we can absolutely deliver before we share anything and make any sort of promise around them. But yeah, it's definitely top of mind for us and something we're actively exploring and thinking through all the time.
Yep, thank you, Sam. Yeah, we're very, very excited about this, and hopefully we'll have a clearer update for you all. But one of the, I guess, more technical challenges that we'd like to also solve is around the image generation. And right now we have to wait like around a week to get your Gribble back, and we'd like to optimize that process as well. So we'll share a few more learnings in the future after we launch an update around the hatching and also around OmniGrow. But those are some of the concerns and a little bit of insight of what we are working on next, and we're really, really excited for the future of OmniGrow. Yeah, thank you, Ayers. I'm glad that you're all very, very patient and very excited for the future of OmniGrow and what breeding could look like in the future. If you have any ideas, feel free to share in ideas and suggestions. Okay, I think those should be all of our questions. That seems to be it. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming to our Gribble Trait Verifier and Rarity tool demo today. Oh, I see some typing. Feel free to ask if there are any questions, but it was yeah, thank you. I'm glad you had a nice time today. And this is the second of our series of events relating to this, but we will be uploading this to YouTube if you missed any part of this. And also, thank you everyone so much for coming today. And also, if you have any feedback regarding our event or even just our sheet or how we could improve this entire process, feel free to share in ideas and suggestions. We'd also love to hear your thoughts on future events, and we'd love to know what you enjoyed and also ways we can continue to improve these events. Yeah, thank you, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day, night, or afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.